Hey everyone, this is Rachel with Songbird Crafts Inc. and this is my workspace. So I have quite a lot of images colored in and I have to get my cards done, but I just wanted you to see how I work. I color and fussy cut and color and fussy cut, and then I put them to the side, and when I have an occasion I'll pull out an image and then create a card for it. I really should have like a bunch of birthday cards and anniversary cards, etc., but I think it depends on the person and the person's sense of humor, etc., and then I will create the card around that and choose the image that that I think is the most appropriate. It might not be the most efficient, but this here is my therapy. It just makes me feel better, and it's, to me, it's fulfilling. It's probably a very quiet, not so exciting hobby, just sitting here for hours coloring, but it does make me feel better. And yeah, so I need to make cards with all of these beautiful images. As you can see, they are all, I think they're all CCDesigns. I might have a few Spellbinders in here somewhere. This is from a Spellbinders die, small die. Here's the boy. And then the girl dinosaur. I have the dragons that I created, the little dragons. I have just a ton of stuff here. Here are the little images I recently uploaded that I colored. And here's the little girl that I colored off screen. So these images are fantastic. I'm completely obsessed with CCDesigns and Spellbinders. Those are my top two companies. But yeah, how about we grab some of these and create a card? So let's get started. Okay, so I decided to grab the images from CCDesigns, Pals, and Charles. All the images are here except for one with Charlie Brown and Snoopy hugging. But I have all the other characters that are in the set: Lucy, Sally, Schroeder, Peppermint Patty, Snoopy, and Charles. And just two of the sentiments that I may or may not use. So I am going to make 4 cards instead of 1, and I start with an 8.5 by 5 piece of cardstock, and I score at 1.5 and 1.5 and 2.5 and 2.5, and then I fold gatefold star mountain valley style so that it looks sort of like a step. Next, I'm going to grab some pattern paper, just one piece, measured at 5.25 by 2.25. You can use any pattern paper that you like. I'm using papers from Echo Park. I'm going to place that in the center 2.5-inch panel, and then I am going to grab a piece of pattern paper in 5.25 by 1.25 and place that on the last panel. So it's like one without paper, one with, one without, one with. Okay, then I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock, and this one is 8 by, I think 3.5, 8 by 3.5. And I score that at 4 inches right down the middle. And then I grab a piece of pattern paper at 3.25 by 3.75, and I use that in the very center. I just made sure that the pattern paper I used here matched one of the pattern papers I placed on the steps, the part of the card that has steps first. Okay, so here are some Spellbinder ovals and scalloped ovals. These are super old. I've had them for so many years, so I don't even know if they still have these, but they may have something like them. These two are the medium size that come in the set, but again, I can't say if they are available now or not. I've had them for so long. I placed that in the center, and again, choosing a piece of pattern paper that matches one of the pieces I placed on there earlier. So now I'm just gonna hold the step part together, and I'm going to glue that 8 by 3.5 piece, just the bottom portion to the bottom portion of the steps. It makes sense if you look at it as I'm doing it, not so much as you listen to my directions. I'm not sure if I'm clear enough, but you can see how I just adhered the bottom there. Then the back has to be adhered, the back piece has to be adhered to the back. So I thought I measured correctly and I put way too much glue. So you'll see what I do to try to remedy that. You can see here that once I press down, there's still a piece left with glue exposed. So I just grabbed some of the scraps of the pattern paper that I used at the start, and I just cut a strip. There really wasn't any real like measurement. I think maybe it was 1 inch, maybe half an inch. And then I made sure that it was at 5 1/4, I think. And I just placed that on the back. Of course, you can make it any size you want. But again, this was just to cover up a little faux pas. Okay, so because this is a faux step card, there really isn't anywhere to write unless you write on the back of the card. So I'll show you later how you can get around that. Here, I'm just checking out all of my little characters and I'm trying to figure out who should go on this card. I tried at first to incorporate all of them, but it was just too much. And less is more. So I grabbed Charlie, made him the center. And of course, who is always with Charlie? It has to be Snoopy. So I grab Snoopy and I add Snoopy to that right bottom corner, and I thought it was perfect. I like these non-traditional style cards. They take longer to make, but they're just so beautiful. I wish I could make them more often. I usually just go to our standard, but here's that first card. I think it looks fantastic, but it needs a sentiment. So I'm going to grab one of the sentiments that comes in the stamp set. Again, I'm wondering if I can add any more characters, but I end up not adding anyone else. And I choose the sentiment that says cold nose, warm hugs, I think. Or warm heart. Cold nose, warm heart. I thought it made sense because Snoopy is on this card. All right, and just for a little bit of embellishment, I grabbed some enamel dots from Hero Arts, Paper Studio. There's probably a Trinity set in there somewhere, and I look for whatever I think would coordinate. And I think I grabbed maybe two of the dots. I placed those on the top right corner. Yep, and that one is done. How cute is that? So that's card number 1, faux step card. And those measurements were not mine. They were from Jackie Williams, Jacque Williams. She's got a YouTube channel as well. She's the one that had those exact measurements. So there you saw me with a white gel pen. You can use a white gel pen to write on the back or just add another piece of pattern paper to write on. Okay, here we go with card number 2. I am going to make a slimline mini. For a slimline mini, you just need a piece of 6x6 cardstock and score it at 3 right down the middle. And here I am just looking for which pattern paper makes the most sense. I had it on the dotted side first and then flipped it over, and I like the clouds better. So I placed that on the front panel, and this measures 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, I placed that in the center. I completely forgot to write the measurements here on the screen, but again, that's a 6x6 card scored down the middle, and then a 5 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so you saw me pull some sentiments there. Those are Simon Hurley. And I got those on Spellbinders. And these are his sentiment stamps. He's got a few of them. I can't remember which these are because I think I have a mix of 2 different sets here. But I decide to pick So Proud of You. And I placed that right in the center in between the 2 little characters. And I thought this was a great sentiment because it looks like she's celebrating or dancing to the music. So because it looks like she's celebrating, I thought it made sense to write So Proud of You. So that was card number 2, a mini slimline. All right, we are moving a mile a minute. So we're going to move on to cards 3 and 4. So cards 3 and 4 will feature Lucy and Peppermint Patty. And for these cards, I just have 2 pieces of cardstock at 6 by 3 inches, scored right down the middle to create a 3 by 3 card. Then I have some pattern paper that is measured 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 to add to the front panel. And for Peppermint Patty's card, I end up adding an extra panel on the inside. Okay, so then I just decide I'm gonna have Lucy be part of, or be on that card, because I like the polka dots against her blue. And oh yes, I actually do add some pattern paper in the center inside of the card. And then I write my sentiment, or place my sentiment in the inside, because the 3 by 3 card doesn't really give you a lot of room. So I keep the images in the front, and I put Lucy in the front and the sentiment on the inside. I tried to fit them both, but clearly that did not work. So I end up making a second 3 by 3 card. Here I'm grabbing this scrap of scallop cardstock that I made using one of CCDesigns dies. And I had it laying around. It happened to be black, so I thought it'd match perfectly. Put that on the inside. And finally, with Peppermint Patty, again, it's a 6 by 3 card, just scored right down the middle and folded in half. I use a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 piece of pattern paper and place another one on the inside as well. I decide to put Peppermint Patty on the left and then try to squeeze in a sentiment on her right. And the only way that I could do this is if I cut that sentiment apart. So after I place this panel on the front, I go through my sentiments again and decide which one would be the best to squeeze right there next to Peppermint Patty. I don't know about you, but I grew up with the Peanuts gang, with Snoopy, and I always said I wanted to have my child's nursery be Snoopy. I ended up not having children, but my stepdaughter had a son, and his room is Snoopy. So I kind of had that dream come true anyway. Okay, so I decide on "You Are Loved." And I cut the word "you" off of the very top left of that sentiment so that it would fit perfectly. All right, that fits perfectly there. I feel like she needs a little bit more, so I grab those enamel dots again. I decide on the hero hues. I think I use green and blue, or no, I think I just use green to play off of the shirt that she's wearing. Okay, so those are my 2 3 by 3 cards. Here is my mini slimline, and here's the faux step card. I said I was going to do 1 card. I ended up making 4. I hope you enjoyed, and that this inspires you to purchase some CCDesigns stamps. They are adorable. Every single stamp set that they have is fantastic and so fun to color. And if you haven't already, leave a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.